Well, hello, friends, and welcome to the gallery that I manage and supply. And I know what you're thinking. How did you become a full-time potter? How do you make it work? During our little session today, I'm gonna throw some clay and yap. I'm gonna yap with y'all about how I became a full-time potter, what helped me take the leap, and hopefully be able to offer you some encouragement and support to do the same thing if that's the journey that you're on. I spent so many hours, so many early 6 a.m. mornings, so much training, so much effort, so much outreach, so much email, so many days working for someone else. And I know that you have too. And there's nothing wrong with that. But when I was trying to figure out my career path right after graduating college, I was working so hard for other people. My soul wanted to do pottery so bad, but I was putting in so much work and time and effort for other people's businesses. And there was like a click in my brain one day. That click was, why am I putting in so much effort for someone else and not any for myself? Why am I not choosing myself? And I know, it's like a weird question to ask. Why am I not helping, working for myself, putting in effort for myself, but I have such an easy time doing it for someone else? Well, you're required to, you get paid, you get a paycheck, you have a schedule. It's hard to set rules for yourself that you don't want to do when the only accountability that you have is yourself. You are your own boss. It's a completely different dynamic and it's really hard to transition to. After I realized that I could choose myself, my path, my desires, and pottery, and invest in my fantasy of an idea of a business, I got really excited. That excitement made me so curious and just lit a fire underneath me to start reading books, listening to podcasts, researching how is it possible? What are the different types of income for potters? How can you make it work? What are the different streams? What do you need to do? Is there teaching, online, art fairs, consignment, wholesale? What works? And just those questions, the pursuit of that, helped me to understand all of the different areas and types of questions that I could be asking. One quote really has stuck with me, and that quote was by Alex Hermosi from his business podcast. And he said, would you rather be miserable with no chance of your dream coming true, or would you rather be miserable with a slight chance of your dream coming true? And the reason that I liked that is because it's not unrealistic. You are going to struggle when you work for someone else. It's gonna be sucky. And you're gonna struggle and be miserable when you're working for yourself, and it's gonna be sucky. It's not guaranteed. In fact, failure is probably the only thing that's guaranteed. Little itty bitty failures along the way, because that is what shows that you are learning and growing. And if you can learn from them, pivot, change, never give up. Ever. You can't. That's the whole thing. If you've seen the movie Rudy, it's about a football player, but his whole success story was just the fact that he never quit. And that is probably the biggest piece of advice that I could ever give you for chasing any part of your dream, any part of your dream. If you're an artist, a potter, a writer, an editor, a woodworker, you want to make cutting boards for, whatever you are chasing, a mechanic, you just can't give up. If you want to be a professional football player and you're 5'3", just don't give up. Just try your damn hardest. That is the only thing that you can do. I got really passionate right there. It is absolutely incredible what you can do when you don't have a choice. Like, have you ever been working out and you, like, maybe you're doing bench press and it's on a free bar and you don't have a spot, and you absolutely do need to get it up on the last set and you don't think that you can, but you do, because if you didn't, it would land on your throat? That happened to me once. And it was definitely a personal record. But it's because I did not have a choice. And yes, a lot of that was adrenaline, but you also have that in your life. When you do not have a choice, you have to get rent paid by the end of the month and you don't know how you're gonna do it, you figure out a way how. So if you are 2 feet into something and you do not have a choice and you have to survive, it is amazing what you can do. I do kind of feel like that is the situation that I'm in right now. And I just want to be super real with you right now. I have not made it, okay? I am not like financially stable by any means. Like, I am really having to be strategic when it comes to getting food for the grocery store and making it last a month on a certain amount of money. And I know a lot of you are in that same situation. You know what? We are determined, and I do not have a doubt that we will figure it out, because it is incredible what you can do when you don't have a choice. I did have the support of my mom and my family. I was living at home and I had their financial support. And that is something that I'm extremely grateful for. And with that, I want to touch on advantage. If you have the advantage of being able to live at home and stay at home for a little while and have the financial support of your family, take it to get a leg up and really buckle in and try. This was something also that was said by Alex Hermosi. He was struggling with the idea that he had an advantage because he was raised in an entrepreneurial household and his father was an entrepreneur, and he was, you know, he had all this knowledge of like this advantage that he had in business. And he almost felt bad for going into business because he felt like it was an unfair advantage to everyone else. If you are really tall and you love basketball, but you don't want to go into basketball because you have the advantage of being tall and you don't want to make the other people who are shorter feel bad, no, are you kidding me? If you have a God-given advantage and a love for that, go for it. Like saying thank you for the gifts that you've been given. You can't feel bad for accepting and using the advantage that you've been given to then try your hardest. In the beginning, I literally walked around to every single pottery studio, went in and asked the owner, do you need any help? Do you need a teacher? That I just walked in and I just asked. I didn't do any online stuff. I didn't apply. Well, I did do a lot of Indeed job searching, but I never found anything through Indeed. And the only success that I have found is truly through going and talking to studio owners and asking if they need help. And that is where I got my first 3 teaching jobs, is truly just from going in and asking. And I'm so grateful that I did that because it was really scary and I did not want to do that at first at all. For my first 2 years of teaching, I also started doing art fairs. I love this kind of a foot. We are going to be throwing a bunch of cups today. I'm also super obsessed with this dark red clay right now. It looks so good fired, and I love putting a lot of texture in it with alabaster over it. So even though being an art fair artist is not the right fit for me in terms of selling pottery and having that be a main source of income, it was something that helped me learn so much. Even if I didn't earn very much from an art fair, which I rarely did, I learned a lot. Pricing, about merchandising, about setting up, about what sells, about what catches people's eye, about how to pack, how to set up, how to market, how to communicate. Oh my gosh. I mean, truly, I think that doing art fairs as an entry-level thing, if you want to learn how to sell, how to price, how to merchandise, how to set things up, how to pack, there's a lot that you can learn if you want to get into the entrepreneurial side of selling your work from going to art fairs. So I actually do recommend that as a beginning step, but you'll probably then figure out if it's the right step to keep doing. When I went to an art fair, a particular one in Wisconsin is where I met the guy who owns the building that I'm currently in and is the reason that I have this residency opportunity of managing and supplying this gallery. So I'm extremely grateful that I got to meet him, because living here, working here, and supplying this gallery is absolutely a dream come true, because I truly am full-time making art, learning about sales, learning about business, learning how to price and interacting with customers, and making a decent living doing it. And a lot about managing my income and living on my own, finding some sort of either a residency, an internship, an assistant job with another potter in a studio. That is probably my biggest advice for going in full time if you want to go into owning a studio yourself, because you're going to want to have that little bit of that grace period of like interning and learning about how to run a studio before you buy and own one yourself, which is my goal and it's what I'm currently doing. I want to touch on the fear of just uncertainty and not knowing what next steps look like. No one does, and like I don't. I still doubt all the time. I have struggles with knowing like, am I gonna actually be able to make it? Am I going to figure out business? Like there's so many questions and scaries and uncertainties and things that I need to learn and things that I don't know. And this is just what life is. You have to have the courage to be afraid and act anyways. I like to relate it to doing pottery or doing some kind of an art. You're not gonna know if you like a certain shape, a certain color, a certain combination of things until you actually do it and try it and create it and then look at it. And you can't just create it in your mind and go through everything in your mind and then expect to go through the same type of learning that you would if you were actually to do it. So that's just the importance of action. And honestly, if you have the mindset that you will figure it out and that you are capable, you will keep asking yourself the right questions, and I know that you'll be on the right path. It's less about the specific steps and more about how you talk to yourself. I can't do it. That could be what you tell yourself when you ask yourself, like, why aren't I choosing myself? Why don't I go into my passion for my full-time work? Why don't I do that? I'll just tell you one of mine. One of my negative I am statements that I was saying to myself is that I don't know how. Like whatever it was, like going into business or like starting whatever I wanted to start, finding a job, going into teaching, figuring it out. I was just like, I don't know how. And that just stopped my thinking and my pursuit of doing it, because I was like, well, I don't know how, so how could I do it? Instead of just telling myself or asking myself, how can I do it? What do I have? How can I figure it out? And I realized that that was one of my negative things I was telling myself, and so I switched it to, I am capable. It completely changed my courses of action after that. And you have to take the action. The action is then what eliminates your confusion. I'm like not paying attention to what I'm throwing, and now it's getting thrown off. That's getting smushed. It's all right, it happens. Writing 25 things that I want and already have. It can fix your lack mindset of thinking like, I don't have enough, I don't have anything that I want, I'm like so behind, like I'm not in a good spot, I don't have anything that I'm working towards, I lack, I lack this, right? Bad mindset. It's hard to invest and gain and grow when you feel like you're just lacking. And it's hard to change a life that you feel like you don't love. So writing a list of 25 things that you want and also have. You know, an example of things that I want and also have are, and it's a long one, it makes me feel so grateful, right? Like I want and also have a loving mom, a loving family, a loving sister, a loving brother, an amazing dog. I want and also have a pottery studio. I want and also have a career in art right now. I want and also have a healthy mind, a healthy body, a safe place to live. Lord, I am so grateful. There are so many things that I want and also have. And then the next page, you have to write 25 things that you want and don't have. The next page, you are going to write and integrate those two things together. So that was really helpful for me in terms of journaling. Oh yeah, are your actions aligning with your priorities? Or are your actions aligning with your goals? If you were being filmed all day for a documentary about your life, would the person watching it assume and see clearly that you are serious about achieving your goals? I looked at my day and I was waking up at like 8:39, rolling out of bed, drinking my coffee, having a relaxing morning, and then I was getting to my work a little later. I was getting to the gym a little later. I wasn't making time for reaching out and building connections and networking, doing that admin stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, my actions are totally not aligning with my goals of utilizing my day fully. I realized like, wow, I need to be waking up earlier. I need to not be sitting on my phone in the morning. I need to create a priority list of what I want to accomplish that day. I need to stick to it. I need to do what I say I'm gonna do and absolutely not doubt myself that I will do it. Like, ooh, it just made me question a lot of my actions and see that they weren't aligning with my goals. I think honesty with yourself can really be something that is difficult, because if you haven't been honest with yourself, or if your actions are not aligning with your priorities and goals, it can be really disappointing. And instead of guilting yourself, instead of going through that, instead of feeling so bad and like, you know, going through this like guilt period, skip past that and just change the next day. And dude, if I might add, it might be a really good feeling, and you could only do it for one day. It's actually pretty hard to be answering specific questions and like thinking about answers and throwing complex forms. That's why we're not doing that. Long-term goals. Hey, long-term goals. I want to own a pottery studio that has a gallery that I also am able to teach at and hire teachers. I also want to be financially stable. I also want the freedom to travel a little bit. I want to increase my pottery abilities and my skills. I want to create a name for myself as an artist. Short term, those goals can be translated into like, okay, I am learning about how to run a studio through this residency that I'm doing now. I am not spending any money that isn't a direct investment into my business, other than things that I need to survive, like gas, food, and pottery supplies, and like rent and obviously living expenses. I think that I could improve more on getting back into reading business books. This is making me realize that. And also listening to more podcasts about it, because those are very, very helpful to me. So you get the point. I hope that wasn't too distracting or in depth or whatever with me. But if you just like start spitballing your long-term in general goals, it can kind of make it very obvious if you are or aren't doing small things right now that align with those. And those can kind of help you find your immediate small stepping stones that will then lead you to the next like curve in the road. All right, last piece of clay. I am still learning. I'm still growing so much. And the thing is like, I never want to stop being a student. I never want to stop learning and growing. And I think that is comforting to me, because it allows me to relax in a growth mindset. It frees you of the fact that you have to be perfect, or that you have to know, or that you have to get it right on the first time. It helps me know that everything that goes wrong, or every thing that I don't know, is the next stepping stone. And it's great to know like, oh yes, that's what I get to do. Like, oh dude, okay, this is perfect. This just reminded me of that. I used to want to do rock climbing. I was like really into rock climbing for a while, and somebody said to find your stuck point. And if you've ever done rock climbing, you've probably been on a wall and there's one point on the wall where you always get stuck and like you can't get to that next hold. You always get stuck there. You always lose all your energy and strength there, and like you just can't get past that point. And instead of seeing that point as like, ugh, I hate that point, I hate that stuck point, I can't get past that point, see that as like, yes, dude, I found exactly where I need to work. I found my problem. I found my equation that I need to like tinker with and work with. I know exactly what I need to work on. I found my stuck point. And I thought that that was like so cool because it made the problem that gave you so much issue then a good thing because it showed you exactly where you needed to work. So I think I want to end this by looking for your stuck point. Find that point in business or in life that you just feel like, oh, I don't want to address it because I can't seem to get past it. What is that? Write it down. Just write it down. I think that reminds me of the quote that writing down the problem in specificity, you're like 50% done with solving it. Because a lot of people don't even know what their problem is. They don't even know where their stuck point is. And I didn't know that for a long time either. I just knew that I didn't know where to go and I didn't know where I was. So finding out your stuck point and the problem in detail, you're almost done with solving it. Take a deep breath. Let's take a deep breath with me, ready? That was a lot. That was a lot to talk about, it was a lot to go over, and it might be a lot to fully let seep in. So give yourself some grace, you know, let yourself think about this, churn over it, and you don't have to dive in and make all your dreams come true and change all your actions today in one day. So please remember, my friends, that art is so important and so are you, no matter what your type of art is. And please enjoy all aspects of the process, even the bad and hard ones. I will see you in the next one.